Hey guys, what's up? Sermo11 here with my review of Dragon Ball Super Episode 34, which has the fight between Piccolo and Frost. Now, I didn't want to do a full review for this episode because I'm lazy, and I spent too much time working on my homework a few hours ago, but I spent time writing a review for the show anyways, and I was just like, oh, I got an exam in the morning, I can't do this. Oh, my hand hurts, I can't type up this review. Oh, I don't feel like doing this, but I ended up doing it. So, episode 34 of Dragon Ball Super, this episode, it wasn't out for a long time because I believe someone said the Dragon Ball Super actually comes out on Fridays, but we get it on Sundays now because there's only a few people subbing the episode or a few people working on the episodes, so we don't really get subs as quick as possible because this isn't on an official website. This is, I think all of Dragon Ball Super has been subbed by fans, so that's one thing. So I haven't seen the episode subbed on the anime websites that I use. I had to find it by other means. If you do not have the episode yet, I can give you a link or show you where it's at, but I'm not going to be talking about it in the video or anything. And this isn't the same guy that subs the episodes normally either because I didn't see his name in the video. Maybe I missed it, but the subs were off, and they were off like more than usual. They were messed up in many places, but you can understand the episode for the most part. You know, some spelling errors, some grammar errors, but overall it's pretty good. You can understand what's going on in the episode. And I was spoiled on the events in this episode because I kept looking for the episode. That's how excited I was for Dragon Ball Super. It's like, this is taking priority. This is my weekly anime now, you know, since I don't have Hunter x Hunter or Kuroko's Basketball. Naruto Shippuden's back with the Itachi arc, so I can start watching that, but I actually watched this episode before that. So Dragon Ball Super is my main anime at the moment. And, sorry, my iPod. But I was spoiled on events in the episode because I was looking for it. So I was spoiled on, by the way, if you haven't seen the episode yet, go watch it and then come back. So I was spoiled on Piccolo being knocked out and Frost being evil. And that made the episode less exciting. I really like the Dragon Ball anime YouTube channels or whatever. You know, they give all their theories, they have all these discussions, but sometimes I don't understand them. And this isn't an insult to them in any way. It was just like some things I kind of noticed as I was looking for the episode and as I was checking YouTube. I like their channels, but they do raw reviews. Why? Is it that serious to get a review out? Like, I don't understand. Are there really that many people watching this episode raw to the point where you need to do a review of it? Because I like Dragon Ball Super, but I'm not going to watch it raw. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to watch the episode twice. It's not that serious. And I think that's doing way too much. And really, it kind of spoils stuff if the episode's not really out for everyone. You're just watching the raw version. You can only assume what goes on, and you actually get the dialogue, and maybe you'll be off on what you're talking about. But yeah, I just think it kind of spoils it for other people. And I kind of had to unsubscribe to some of these channels at some point because it was just too much, too many spoilers, a lot of theories over like small things and everything like that. And even a friend kind of expressed his dislike for some of the channels, so I kind of just jumped on that. But a few weeks later, I subscribed back to all those channels and I subscribed to some new ones. And again, as I said before, I like their videos. It's just like, there's too much content and a lot of the things are just being spoiled that don't need to be spoiled. But this kind of goes into what Frost did to Goku in the last episode. People in the community kind of freaked out over that. And by the way, I don't really update you guys on my thoughts on the series, but I like seeing the Universe 6 fighters in the intro showing some of their fighting skills. But yeah, that's kind of a tangent of a tangent of a tangent. Anyways, in the last episode, Goku was knocked out by Frieza or Frost. Ooh, I am sorry. Goku was knocked out by Frost and defeated. And I like that they're making him lose more, but it's happening very often with Goku losing to Beerus, Vegeta being stronger than Goku for a short period, Frieza blowing up the planet, and now Goku losing his fight with Frost. And people had all these theories about what happened to Goku, and I just thought it was too much, you know. It got annoying how many people were pretty much uploading the same video when I thought it was obvious, and like all these comments on various anime websites. It was a lot of stuff. Like, the community just blew up over this. And I think I thought at first that Frost had tricked Goku, but then I thought about the theory of Goku faking the fight, which made a lot more sense to me with Goku actually winking in the episode. And some people were saying that, I believe this is in a video, that someone was saying that the Dragon Ball characters wink all the time, so perhaps it was showing that Goku was in some sort of pain or something like that. And it just didn't look like that, so maybe they just didn't animate it properly. I know I'm just talking about like random things, but if you watch for Neverworld's video, he was talking about how the Dragon Ball Super animators kind of defended the animation and that they were having some younger animators work on the show, and that's why the animation looks like that. It's not really a good excuse, especially with how good of a show and how popular Dragon Ball Super is, and Dragon Ball is as a franchise, like, you should take more care of it, but that's their reasoning, and maybe that's why some of us didn't really notice that Frost had done something to Goku. And I didn't even notice the wink of originally. Like, I had to go back in the episode to see it. But Frost, but Goku, like, giving up the fight, that did not happen at all. Frost did something to Goku, so I was kind of right in the first place. And in this episode 34 of Dragon Ball Super, it's literally everyone's just literally looking down at the fight, at the result of the fight, and just like, what the heck just happened? Goku was clearly the stronger one, so how did he lose to Frost? And Chi-Chi comes down to see Goku, and I really love this moment. We've always had home moments with Goku, Chi-Chi, and Gohan, but we never really see Chi-Chi and Goku showing a lot of affection for each other. So I loved seeing her jump down to see what's up with Goku. I loved seeing her being worried about Goku and everything. And I also liked how, after all that, Goku picks her up and flies her back to the stands or whatever. And I was kind of spoiled on how Frost is evil and everything. I think I said that already, but he did a good job faking it. He did a great job faking that he was evil, and he's holding up his hands like he's the people's champ or something like that, and he even helps Goku up. But I think Chi-Chi was skeptical of Frost at this point, and he holds Goku's arms up, or his arm up, like they're friends and everything was okay after the fight. And this guy's great. Like, he's a joke, but he is great. I like Frost for, faking it at least. I thought we were going to have a nice sort of Frieza character, but that's not the result. And Beerus is just pissed off, and he says that Goku would have won if he had to use his full power, probably going Super Saiyan Blue. And while that's true, we don't do things like that around here, Beerus. You're new here, you don't get it. But, I mean, Beerus even himself, he didn't use his full power against Goku, so I don't really understand how he can talk, because he's doing, like, the exact same thing. It's pretty much like a Dragon Ball thing. Like, you hold some of your power back, you kind of test the waters, and then you start using your full power. I don't really post all my thoughts on the show, but I think Champa is a better person than Beerus at the end of the day. If I had to trust someone with my life, I'd go with Champa. And you can see a video I made talking about Beerus and how I think Beerus is evil, and I called it like, it was like a potential arc in the story that I thought would be called the Evil Beerus arc, so you can check that out. And again, guys, I'm just all over the place, but I think the video is pretty good so far. Piccolo is up next, and he asks Goku if he has a chance, and I was surprised by this. Is Piccolo that outclassed by Goku and Vegeta at this moment? Goku tells him that he doesn't have a chance, and he's pretty much going to weaken Frost for Vegeta. And Vegeta is still wondering what happened in the fight, and Jocko sits with Vegeta to get a better look at the main fight, Piccolo versus Frost. And as the fight starts, Piccolo starts charging up his special beam cannon immediately, and Frost is trying to stop him, and it doesn't really work. After Frost shoots Piccolo in the leg, he can no longer fly, and then Piccolo gets down on the ground and he starts making clones of himself. So Frost is doing whatever he can to get rid of all these clones, and Frost eventually breaks Piccolo's concentration with this special beam cannon. But Piccolo planned for this to happen from the start, and he starts trapping him with his extended arm. He can stretch his arms out basically, and he's going to hit him with the special beam cannon while he's right there. But Frost moves his arm up into Piccolo's Piccolo's arm that's wrapped around him, and he does something again to mess with Piccolo's vision like he did with Goku. So his vision starts acting up, and then Frost just immediately blows a hole in Piccolo's chest. Like, whoa, we can't kill people here. And I don't know if this means anything special, or I don't know if this means anything, but the special beam cannon that Piccolo created was strong enough to break the barrier made by Vados. I don't know if that's showing that Piccolo is starting to become up there with Vegeta and Goku, or is it that he just charged it up that long and that it became that strong to break a barrier. Now, this is Dragon Ball Z. This would have taken like a few episodes to charge up or something like that. So Jocko objects the loss of Piccolo, and he wants the ref to investigate Frost's right arm for a weapon. And Frost has everyone fooled, and even Kabe is on his side. So Vegeta and Beerus support Jocko in this declaration of, Frost basically cheating. And the thing that I thought was odd was that the needle in Frost's arm came out when the ref was checking his arm. So is it always visible, or can he control it extending out? Now, I would think that he can control it, but why would you have it sticking out while the ref is checking you? I don't understand that. So the ref touches the needle or whatever, and he gets knocked out for a few seconds, and Frost ends up being disqualified, and Piccolo gets the win. And Frost, he has this needle in his arm, and it's a body modification. He says that it's part of his body, but it's not. The ref basically notices like, oh, this is a body mod. You can't use that. That's against the rules. And Vados reveals that Frost's race is just like that, I think that's the way she meant it. That's kind of the way I took it. She says it's his nature. So I was just thinking, oh, the entire race is like this. So it wasn't just Frieza, it was all of them. And she also talks about how Frost started the war that he actually stopped. So basically, Frost is kind of fake. This image that he's created for himself as a nice guy is pretty much fake. It's a persona. He's actually pretty evil. And at first, I didn't like how Frost had Frieza's voice, but now it makes complete sense. Now everyone is booing Frost, and if you remember, I think it was in the last episode, everyone was cheering him on and everything, and it was all positive. So next, Piccolo gets up and regenerates the hole in his chest, and Champa had Vados find the fighters, so he didn't do it himself. So it's also possible that the other fighters could be evil, but at this point, I doubt it. Even Hit seems like a nice guy, or a good guy at least, in a certain way, and I'll be talking about that later in the video. And Champa wants to kill Frost on the spot, which I loved. Like, he has his hand pointed at Frost, and he's like, you embarrassed me. And I was like, this is awesome, go ahead and do it. Because even though I think the gods are kind of like too much, like, oh, they're gods of destruction, they need to destroy things, like, oh, if you piss them off, they'll kill you right away. But like, in this situation, it makes sense. It makes sense to kill Frost. In my opinion, at least. And he's kind of evil, and he's not a main character, so there's no problem there. But I'm guessing the tournament rules are out for the next fight because Vegeta stops Champa from killing Frost, and he wants to do it himself. So Piccolo's loss counts as a loss, and Frost is still in the tournament. This works out in Champa's favor, and he'll still help out Frost if Frost wins this fight, or was it like 2 more fights or something like that? Because Frost has won 2 fights at this point, so maybe if he wins the next one, I forgot. And man, Frost is just fighting everyone. Akira Toriyama can't get rid of Frieza, can he? Because Frieza is like always in the story, and I don't get it, because Frieza had his own saga. He was in the Android saga at the beginning. I don't think he wasn't in the Buu saga, but like, that's a lot of the story. Like, for like the amount of time they spent on Namek, and then Frieza to come back right after that, for Frieza to come back in one of the movies, and then also come back in Dragon Ball Super, and now we have Frost, which is the Frieza of this universe, basically. I don't think this fight's going to go in Frost's favor. I mean, it kind of makes sense for it to not go in his favor, and I think Vegeta's going to mess him up in probably the next 2 fighters. I'd love for Kabe to be super strong in another way besides Super Saiyan, but Universe 7 has 2 fighters left, Vegeta and Monaka. Unless someone else shows up, Vegeta is going to have to take some people out, and I'm thinking he's going to take out Frost the robot, and possibly Kabe. But that's the end of the episode. I don't think I ever mentioned that I like how the ending starts with the backs of all the Saiyans, but then you notice that Yamcha's there and the other Z fighters are there. I thought it would have been cooler to just have the Saiyans, but I'm just like giving my thoughts on random things since I haven't talked about Dragon Ball Super in so long. In the next episode, based on the preview, I'm guessing Vegeta goes Super Saiyan to defeat Frost because that's really all he and Goku need. It does show him going Super Saiyan, but I'm guessing like that's all he's going to need to defeat Frost. Like he's not going to need to go Super Saiyan 2 or Super Saiyan Blue or anything like that. And it seems like Frost is going to lose the fight and then Hit's going to kill him or mentally break him for being a cheater. And that's why I think Hit is a good guy, or he has some sort of justice in fighting. And if you look at the preview, you can see Hit causing some sort of breaking in the ground, and I think that could be like imagery, basically. Like it could be like showing what's happening in Frost's head, or like what Hit is actually doing to him, not like something he's actually doing in the real world. But I don't know. One more thing before I go. This video is going on for a long time. Let me check the time. It's 16 minutes. That's a long review. But I feel like Dragon Ball Super has pacing issues. The movies really didn't have much room to be expanded into arcs, and they made them take too long in Dragon Ball Super, and really they didn't make the movies better. They kind of made them worse in a way. And then we have this new content which started off great, but the fights are kind of short. And I don't really know how Dragon Ball tournaments work, but it's going pretty fast. This episode felt like a slower pace at least, but I guess I'm just used to the 50 plus episode story arcs in Dragon Ball Z. And I'm not sure how Akira Toriyama made them last this long, made the arcs last that long in Dragon Ball Z, but they worked for that show. I don't know if they'll work for this show. And really, Dragon Ball has a lot of interesting stuff in it, but a faster pace doesn't work for faster pace doesn't work for Dragon Ball. And I'm sure there's more to this arc, but still, I'm worried it'll end this arc by episode 50, and probably earlier than that, maybe in the 40s. Also, the anime and manga are going on at the same time, and the anime has passed up the manga. It's very weird, and I don't think people care about it as much as I do, but it really makes no sense. And if Dragon Ball Super doesn't get a central villain, I don't think we're going to have long arcs. That's basically the way it's working at this moment. Like, if Champa or Beerus doesn't become like the main villain for an arc, we're going to keep having like random, maybe 10 to 20 episode arcs. So yeah, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. This video is pretty long. Please check out my Teen Titans Go rant part 2, my Dragon Ball Super Evil Beerus arc discussion, and my rant on live reactions. I'm Summer11. Be sure to check out my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The links are in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time, and peace out.